This video is on debunking the scientific miracle claims in Surah 2440, or within brackets, the state of a disbeliever is like the darkness in a vast deep sea, overwhelmed with a great wave, topped by a great wave, topped by dark clouds, darkness one above another. If a man stretches out his hand, he can hardly see it. And he for whom Allah has not appointed light, for him there is no light. There are multiple Islamic miracle YouTube channels that have made videos on this and insist that darkness is found at depths more than 200 meters or below the sea surface. Now, humans cannot dive unaided at these depths. Hence, there is no possible way for Muhammad to know that deep sea is dark. Moreover, there are waves in deeper oceans which are not visible to the naked eye. Then, how could Muhammad know about these waves? All these sound intriguing, so we are going to take a deep dive and understand whether this is really a miracle or a common knowledge during the times of Muhammad. The claims by Muslim apologists will be true only if number 1, darkness in deep sea was unknown to mankind during the time of Muhammad. And number 2, the fact that there are waves inside the sea was unknown to mankind during the time of Muhammad. First, I will be addressing point number 1, that is darkness inside the sea. This is taken from University of Hawaii's webpage. Link is in the description. Let me read the text. The depth of water not only affects the colors of light that are noticeable underwater, it also affects the intensity or amount of light. Within the first 10 meter, water absorbs more than 50% of the visible light energy. See figure 9.9. And the caption of figure 9.9 says that the intensity of sunlight decreases rapidly with depth. The graph denoted by the black curve is the average of all colors of visible light, and it does show that corresponding to 10-meter depth from the sea surface, we have only 50% of visible light energy. Now, let's try to find out how much is the visible light energy at 30-meter depth. Well, it is about 20%. In other words, it is like 80% dark if we reach 30 meters depth from the sea surface. Now, what is so special about 30 meters depth? Bear with me for a moment. Please do a Google search on the history of underwater diving and you will get tons of material. This Wikipedia article is something I will be mainly referring to in this video. There are in fact some other great online resources, and if you are really interested, I have shared the link to this article on maritime archaeology from Brown University's website. The Wiki article says that the history of underwater diving starts with freediving as a widespread means of hunting and gathering, both for food and other valuable resources such as pearls and coral. By classical Greek and Roman times, so it is going back to 5th century BC, okay. By classical Greek and Roman times, commercial applications such as sponge diving and marine salvage were established. Military diving also has a long history, going back at least as far as the Peloponnesian War, which was from 431 to 404 BC. There are also many other records of salvaging lost cargoes. Hidna of Scione and her father Schyllis are famous for salvaging huge volumes of gold and silver from a Persian fleet of ships that sank in a storm. These were documented by Herodotus. The oldest form of diving is free diving. Underwater diving for commercial purposes may have begun in ancient Greece, since both Plato and Homer mention the sponge as being used for bathing. The island of Kalymnos was a main center of diving for sponges. By using weights of as much as 15 kilograms to speed the descent, breath holding divers would descend to depths up to 30 meters for as much as 5 minutes to collect sponges. So, people were diving 30 meters just through free diving, and we already saw that at 30 meters it is already 80% dark. Even in 4th century BC, there were technological advancements made in sea diving. The diving bell is one of the earliest types of equipment for underwater work and exploration. Its use was first described by Aristotle in the 4th century BC. They enable the divers to respire equally well by letting down a cauldron, for this does not fill with water but retain the air, for it is forced straight down into the water. According to Roger Bacon, Alexander the Great explored the Mediterranean Sea on the authority of Ethicus the astronomer. This is a 16th century Islamic painting of Alexander the Great being lowered in a glass diving bell. Hence, I have shown you that more than 1,000 years before the birth of Muhammad, people were not only doing deep diving, they were also using some kind of technology in this regard. So, long before Muhammad, people already knew that it is dark inside the sea and it gets darker quite rapidly as we go down. It is a no brainer that it will be completely dark at even greater depths. In fact, Surah 55 19 to 22 already hints about ancient deep diving. It talks about pearls and corals coming from the seas, which could only be obtained by deep sea divers. So the first point is taken care of. Coming to point number 2. This is kind of a no-brainer. If someone has already dived into the sea and reached a coral reef or the site of a shipwreck, the person will feel the wavy motion due to turbulence, even though these waves are invisible. Just go for scuba diving and you will feel this yourself. If you are in an airplane and it is going through a turbulent weather condition, you can't see air turbulence from the window, but you can feel that things are shaking. This book, published by Cambridge University Press, tells all about waves and turbulence in oceans, both on the surface and inside the ocean. So, the second point is also taken care of. Another point I would like to raise is that the verse is depicting a situation when there are dark clouds in the sky and there are great waves. Now, when it is cloudy, the visibility is already low. Hence, you do not need to go down to 200 meters below the sea surface to experience a pitch dark situation. This 200-meter thing is when the sky is bright and sunny. In presence of a strong cloud cover, it will be pitch dark even at 30 meters depth. Moreover, when there are great waves at the sea surface, it will be quite turbulent at depths much below the surface as well. The story of Hidna of Scione teaches us that salvaging operations were often done in stormy weather conditions because chances of shipwreck increases. Ancient divers have experienced all these extreme weather conditions, which basically means what Muhammad is saying is a common knowledge of his time. If you are a Muslim and you watched this video, by now you have realized that Muslim apologists have conned you. They are either ignorant of these historical facts or they have done this willfully. Anyways, they have tried to pass off a common knowledge during Muhammad's time as some deep scientific miracle.